Hi, my name is Nikki Castleberry. I'm with the University of Georgia Museum of Natural History, where I'm the Assistant Curator of Vertebrate Collection. I'm here to talk about bats. I've been conducting field work and research on federally listed bats in the Southeast for the past 15 years. I've worked with both the West Virginia and Georgia Departments of Natural Resources, as well as for the university. I've been consulting with Nutter and Associates to assess the draft environmental assessment and the proposed project impacts with respect to bats. I'm here in my individual capacity and not speaking on behalf of the university. I'm concerned about the significant impacts this project will have on threatened and endangered bats and their habitats, and about the woefully inadequate efforts of the airport sponsor to understand and mitigate those adverse impacts. As Nutter and Associates has explained, the proposed project is in the middle of the Paulding Forest. This forest provides critically important habitat for the threatened northern long-eared bat. This project will impact one of the only remaining forested corridors among a sea of development reaching from the forests of Alabama through to the Appalachian Mountains. These forested corridors are vital to both these bat species, which prefer large patches of contiguous habitat. I love bats. I've surveyed bats in this area and visited the Yorkville mine, which is a winter hibernation site less than a mile from the western end of the runway. To give you some perspective, the runway is over a mile in and of itself. Yorkville mine houses both tricolored and the threatened northern long-eared bat in the winter months. Let me tell you some about these bats, their importance, and the pressures you face. Lots of people say, who cares about bats? Let me tell you why. Bats provide critical ecosystem services in the form of insect control. Dr. Gary McCracken, head of the Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology at UT Knoxville, analyzed the economic impact of the loss of bats for North American agriculture. He found that bat loss had an estimated adverse impact between $4 and $50 billion a year. A single colony of 150 big brown bats can consume 1.3 million insects a year, many of which are damaging to crops, let alone annoying. Cave hibernating bat populations, such as the Indiana bat and the northern long-eared bat, are in steep decline because of fungal infection called white nose syndrome. This fungal disease has killed over 5.5 million bats since 2006. Some species have declined by as much as 95%. The Yorkville mine, again, less than a mile from the airport, has been confirmed white nose positive. In April of this year, the northern long-eared bat was listed as threatened because of this white nose syndrome. Many other bat species are being considered for listing because of the disease-related declines, most of which use Paulding Forest. When a species is listed as threatened due to disease stresses, it's critically important to eliminate and or reduce any other stresses, like the permanent destruction of habitat that the project and interrelated developments will cause. This isn't just an academic point. In 2014, a lactating female and a juvenile northern long-eared bat were captured during MISNet survey work for the road project to access the Aerospace Technology Park, notwithstanding the fact that the county clear-cut the forest before the survey efforts happened. I want to make 3 specific points about the draft EA and the proposed project. First, the proposed project is likely to adversely affect threatened and endangered bats. Between the proposed project and the other interdependent projects, over 1,500 acres of high-quality forested bat habitat will be permanently converted to industrial development. More significantly, as shown in some of these figures, which you may not be able to see, there's a nice corridor of forested habitat among a total sea of development. This area goes from the Talladega National Forest in Alabama all the way through to the Blue Ridge Mountains in the Carolinas and the Tennessee. This corridor is likely an important travel way for threatened and endangered bats. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service appears to share my concerns. In March 2014, the Fish and Wildlife Service refused to concur with the Aerospace Technology Park sponsors to attempt to conclude that the adjacent 150-acre project would not adversely affect bats. This project was the road to access the technology park. It'd be grossly inconsistent to conclude here then that with approximately 1,500 acres of habitat being threatened, the proposed project is not likely to adverse threatened and endangered species. Second, the draft EA is unreasonably narrow. It analyzes only the impacts of 9 acres of clearing of terminal area expansion project. It ignores the effect of the numerous interdependent projects associated with the proposed action. In total, just looking at the Aerospace Technology Park, the Crossroads Community, and the North Office Technopark, all reasonably foreseeable, we're talking about, like I said, 1,500 acres of clear cutting of high quality habitat. Given these impacts alone, an environmental impact statement is required. Third, the FAA has asked to assume the presence of threatened and endangered bats. Evidently, this was done to avoid having to conduct surveys with radio tracking. The FAA does not address the presence of the most important habitat features for these bats, maternity roosting trees. This doesn't work. If you're going to assume the presence of bats, you have to assume that maternity roosting trees are going to be destroyed by the project, or conduct surveys with radio tracking to confirm the absence of these trees. In conclusion, this will adversely impact important bats. The draft environmental assessment does a grossly inadequate job of attempting to understand and mitigate these impacts, and the FAA's attempt to avoid survey work are deeply flawed. An environmental impact statement is required and must be conducted. Thank you for your time.